What is up, Thrive fam? CJ Finley here again with another episode of the Thrive on Life podcast. If you're tuning in from YouTube, I have a little cut on my nose. My son Aiden has dagger nails right now, and we love to play and wrestle. And this is one of the repercussions of that. It doesn't seem to be going away. So it's not food, it's not a bug, it's a little cut I got from wrestling with my son. In today's episode, I'm going to be going over how I just completed 110 days of 5 miles per day. And there's two YouTube videos that I produced on this. One where I talk about why I started it, and then one after 30 days, after a full month of 5 miles a day. I did continue on past that, and I'm happy I did. And one of the reasons that I'm glad I continued to go was because from the start, one of the main purposes of this was to just learn more about myself and just invest in the process. As I've continued, I've reflected back on those videos of why I said I started it and then how I felt after 1 month. And I wanted to add to some of the things that I said in those. So if you haven't watched those or listened to those, go check them out. It'll explain a little bit more of why I chose to start running 5 miles a day beginning in August and a month after that, as well as right here, right now, why I kept going. It's now November 19th, and I'm going to finish out the year with 5 miles a day. I'll explain a little further later on in this of why I will be stopping at the beginning of the year. But for now, I want to dive a little bit deeper into a couple of the things that I've learned throughout this process. And one of them is just that. The process is what's most important to me. And I feel in today's world where social media and the internet dominate a lot of our lives, phones are extensions of ourselves. I felt distracted. I felt I wasn't sure what my goals were, meaning I wasn't the one deciding what those goals were because social media is telling us constantly what our goals should be, whether it's to sign up for this race or that race, whether it's to get this degree or that degree, get this remote job, get this job that allows you to be flexible and travel the world, get the job you're passionate about, get the job that pays you a ton of money. There's pressure from everywhere. No matter what point of view you have, somebody else out there is going to shove their point of view down your throat if you allowed it to happen. And with phones, you can't control it. If you log on to any of these platforms, it's just coming at you a million miles a minute. And I started to realize that. So as I'm further along in this journey, I'm starting to realize that I wanted time to myself and I wanted time to just invest in the process with no external result. Because when you sign up for a goal where it's, I'm going to do 5 miles a day for 30 days just to see how it goes, and then you complete that, you realize, yes, it's a nuisance. It is something I have to fit in my life every day, but it's not something that's impossible to just wake up and do every day. I started asking myself, what if I just woke up and focused on doing this every day? What is the result that's going to happen just from investing in the process? And throughout that process, some of the things that have changed within my life is I've realized that I've been able to focus more on what matters to me throughout my life and say no to other things. I've been more clear on where I want to go with my life going into 2025, because for 45 to 50 minutes a day, I am alone in my own thoughts and outside, allowing myself to feel and think and manifest, learn. If I'm listening to a podcast, it has added value in so many different ways, purely just by showing up every day. And when I really think back to my running journey and how it started in the first place, that's ultimately why it started and how it started. I just decided I'm just going to run for a mile or two each day. And then I did it for practically 6 months straight. I didn't run more than 3 miles for 6 months at a time. After 6 months, I started doing 4 miles and then 5 miles. But for 6 months, it was really 1 mile a day, 2 miles a day, or 3 miles. And it was purely just to do it. There was no race I was preparing for. There was no external motive that I would make more money from showing up and doing this. And now that I'm on day 110 of 5 miles a day, that's exactly the same feeling I'm having right now. Sure, my aerobic base is better. Sure, my high rocks time might be better. Sure, some of my content might get more views or get more traction, but ultimately showing up every day has allowed me to realign with myself and what my actual goals are. And that's what I'm going to get into now, where going into 2025, I was unsure prior to running these miles where my life was going, what my career was going to look like. I've had some wins over the years. I've had some losses. Some of the wins in real estate, in brand building, community building, investments, nominated for Austin Under 40 multiple times, well known here in Austin, Texas, have a lot of amazing friends and people that I collaborate with on a regular basis, winning in a lot of ways, but also losing. And that's where life is so busy and so fast that we don't even get the time to take a step back and understand where are we losing and why it's happening. And what I mean by that is, sure, if you have an accident throughout your day, like something goes wrong and it's very clear, you understand that that's an L, but you move on from that pretty quickly. In this sense, I'm saying losing is going in a direction that doesn't align with your future. And there's so many people that are doing that on a daily basis where they're showing up and taking actions in a particular path, and it's in misalignment to what they actually want 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line. And for me, I've been pretty good at over the years figuring out what the end result is that I want. And then as long as I'm clear on that, I work my ass off and I do what's necessary to achieve it. So when it comes to school, I wanted to get an engineering degree, so I did that. I wanted to play collegiate sports, I did that. Afterwards, I wanted to get a high-paying job, I did that. I wanted to quit that job and start my own thing, I did that. I wanted to invest in real estate, I did that. I wanted to invest in other brands, I did that. When it's very clear, it's pretty easy to reverse engineer down, understand what you need to do, who you need to interact with, and how you need to go about doing it to eventually get the thing. But what that leaves you feeling is, now that I have the thing, is this even what I wanted in the first place? And why did I want it? In my case, many of the things, fortunately, are exactly what I wanted. And that's because at 25, I pivoted my life to only think about my self-awareness and my health and who I wanted to be surrounded by, moved to Austin, Texas, and transform my life. But as soon as you accrue what I would say is enough wins in your life where you start realizing I can do anything that I put my mind to as long as I work hard and really challenge myself to achieve this thing, the possibilities become endless. And that in itself can be overwhelming. And I was feeling that. I can make a podcast. I can go all in on YouTube. I can write books. I can become a public speaker. I could go on TV. I've already done it. I could be a professional athlete in some sense. There's all these lanes that I could be. And the busyness of life, what'll happen is you end up, if you're me, doing a little bit of all of those things. And you never allow yourself to truly understand, if I were to let some of these go and start mastering a few of them, that actually aligns more with what my future looks like, what I want it to look like, than if I keep dabbling in all these different things. Now, I love dabbling. I love having so many interests and I'm curious. But as you become a parent, if you're a new parent or you've been a veteran parent, you can probably understand this. Your time is extremely limited and it's easy to burn out. And if you're dabbling in so many different things, it becomes exhausting really quickly, rather than showing up every day and being fulfilled by the things that you're doing and then investing the rest of your time into your family. And that's what I'm looking to do in this next stage. So when I think about my goals and how this 110 days have helped me align with that, it allowed me to understand how much I really enjoy showing up and podcasting like this, how much I really enjoy writing, how much I enjoy public speaking, how much I enjoy content creation. Those are the things that I'll do for the rest of my life. So if I do them for the rest of my life, I now need to ask myself, how do I do them at a capacity that supports my family? And that's where I've been taking a step back with this podcast and understanding more of how do I produce it in a way where it attracts the audience that I really want to connect with. How can I serve you? That's how I'm thinking. I'm not thinking, how can I blow this podcast up to make $1 million bajillion dollars? If I were thinking that way, I would have just continued to do what I was doing and then run ads across it and then create products to promote. I haven't been doing that. And there's a reason. I want to connect with a certain type of audience, a certain type of person, and build things together. So I've taken a step back from the podcast, and now I'm going to start ramping up in the direction that I want to go, which is solo podcasts and podcasts with my wife, where it becomes more of a series, weekly series, talking about the things that I believe matter most to men that are in the arena of life that I am in. And if it becomes something beyond that, great. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when it happens. The next thing is I want to write a book, and I want to invest in the process of writing a book. Fortunately, my best friend Noah is going to be hosting a workshop for people to get their first book written, where we're going to come together. He's going to help guide us through the process, and then we're all going to hold each other accountable to making it happen. Next thing is sports and athletics. I am at a point in my life, I'm 33 going on 34, and I'm in the best shape of my entire life. I'm the healthiest I've ever been, but I still have this extra gear I know I can tap. So going into 2025, that's going to be my chance to tap into that gear. Aiden will be 2 years old. We have learned a lot as new parents, but we are finally hitting our groove, hoping to be blessed with more children in the future. But for now, I'm going to go all in on making myself the best and helping pour that energy into my community and my family. And the last thing is content. And how do I distribute content that serves a higher purpose to then attract people and build an audience that grows with me over the next 10, 20, 30 years? I want to connect with people who want to be the best versions of themselves and are willing to look at their flaws and their losses as much as they are about promoting their wins. And that's another reason with the podcast, I love this format, because I can get on here and I can just talk freely about some of the things that are going on in my life. And it's a really big struggle, I feel like, to do that on other types of platforms and social media modalities. Not because you can't do it, but you ultimately won't get your message across to the people that need to hear it most, that can really understand and connect with you and potentially solve their own problems. In the fast-paced world where we want more and more and more and faster, 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 those listening to podcasts go in with the intent of understanding that this is going to be a 10, 20, 30, 40 hour-long conversation, and I'm engaged in listening. And then maybe I'll take part of that thing that I listen to and integrate it into my life. They're already receptive to that. But other platforms are all about sugar candy and getting people to click and go down rabbit holes. I love them because it serves another purpose. But when it comes to connecting over problems and daily things that are going on in life, it's not, in my eyes, the most fruitful method. So that's going to be the focus in 2025. That's going to be the process. And here's where I'm going to end. The 110 days of 5 miles per day, I haven't really cared about tracking how fast I do them. I've split them up on multiple days, 3 miles here, 2 miles there, doing 1 mile and then doing 4 miles later. Traveling, I've done it in multiple different states, multiple different cities. I've had to do it on a treadmill at 6 a.m. before a speaking event. Investing in the process. And when I think about my goals that I just outlined and who I want to become, I'm going back to the drawing board of what is the process that I want to show up to every day, and what will I be devoted to when it comes to that process? Devoted to being the best writer possible, devoted to being the best podcaster I can become, devoted to being the best content creator based on my definition of it, not the world's definition of it. And then how do those things help me in the devotion that matters most to me, which is being the best man possible, being the best husband, father, friend, family member, community member? How do those tools and those goals then overflow into what I'm actually devoted to becoming? If you have a goal in mind that's similar to the 110 day, 5 miles a day. I'm going to keep going. So this is just day 110. Please reach out to me. I'd love to connect to you over it. If you have questions on how I've strategized about achieving this each and every day, from what time I wake up, what time I go to bed, how do I recover, my nutrition, how I've done it while traveling, how I've set myself up for success in doing it all, please reach out to me. If you have other goals that you feel maybe scared to go after, overwhelmed, unsure, reach out to me. We're here to get better together. And I want to put that message out there into the world. I've helped hundreds, probably going on thousands at this point, of people with their personal goals, their professional goals, putting out more social media content, putting out better social media content, getting on podcasts, having better conversations, speaking in public. I've done a lot, and I want to give back to other people that have similar aspirations. So if that's you, please reach out. Until next time, this is CJ Finley with the Thrive on Life podcast. Thrive on, y'all.